Earlier this year, a manager was asked about a job he kept being linked with. He said he wanted no part of a soap opera. Good ones exist, he said, but they run too long, miss an episode or two, and you lose the plot entirely. He didn't watch them. At the time, José Mourinho was the head coach of Benfica. 6 months later, he walked back into the Santiago Bernabéu. And Real Madrid publicly promised to spend the biggest transfer fee in the club's history. They meant it literally. Real Madrid confirmed themselves that they had bid €150 million for Julian Álvarez. Not for a player at some distant club, for the best attacker at Atlético Madrid across the same city. Atlético rejected it, then they mocked their rivals on social media. A public bid for a derby rival's best player, a public rejection, and public ridicule, all inside the same news cycle. That sequence is not common in Spanish football. Which raises the obvious question, why would a club of Real Madrid's size announce a number like that in advance, and then walk straight into that? The answer starts with an election. In June, in the closing stretch of his re-election campaign, Florentino Pérez went on Spanish television and made a specific commitment. Within days, he said, Real Madrid would approach a major Champions League club with an offer. The figure would be at least €150 million. It would be the biggest fee the club had ever paid. He narrowed it down further, a midfielder who could push forward, not a Premier League player. Not Michael Olise, not Jeremy Doku, not Erling Haaland. And he was unusually blunt about the purpose of the signing. It existed to generate excitement. That, he said, was the whole point. To understand why a club president would say that out loud, you have to look at what came immediately before it. Xabi Alonso had been dismissed before completing 8 months in charge. Álvaro Arbeloa, the reserve team coach, finished the season as caretaker. And Real Madrid arrived at this summer having gone 2 straight campaigns without a major trophy. What the electorate wanted wasn't a plan, it was a name. Pérez won, and on the 11th of June, the club's board formally appointed Mourinho on a 3-year contract running to the 30th of June, 2029. He started on the 13th of July, the first day of pre-season. The stage was set, all that was missing was the Galáctico, and Atlético had just said no. The next door was in Munich, and it belonged to a player Pérez had named on television and specifically ruled out. Michael Olise. The links refused to die anyway. 2 days ago, the German outlet Bild reported that Olise had in fact told teammates in the France squad that he wanted to leave Bayern for Real Madrid. With one important caveat, that he had no intention of forcing his way out. Bayern's position has been a single sentence throughout: he is not for sale. Real Madrid, for their part, issued a public statement saying they had made no contact with the player or with the club. This is where the German journalist Christian Falk offered something more unusual. He described a personal understanding between the two presidents, Herbert Hainer and Pérez, who he says are genuinely close. An arrangement where neither club approaches the other's players without saying so first. Under that framework, Falk argued, €300 million wouldn't have moved the needle. That is one journalist's account, and neither club has confirmed it, but the outcome isn't in dispute. Yesterday, The Athletic reported that sources close to Madrid consider an Olise deal simply not feasible this summer, and that the club's official denial still stands as its position. 2 names, 2 refusals, and while everyone was watching those doors, something else was happening. June the 9th, 2 days before the World Cup kicked off, Mourinho's appointment had not yet been announced. According to ESPN, 4 men met at a hotel in Madrid that day: Mourinho, the club's director general José Angel Sánchez, chief scout Juni Calafat, and the agent Jorge Mendes. That meeting matters for a reason. Under Carlo Ancelotti, the manager's requests for reinforcements were largely not acted on. ESPN reported that this structure has now changed, that Mourinho isn't simply being consulted, he is naming the targets and driving a shift in policy. You can see the result in the numbers. Last summer, Real Madrid signed Dean Huijsen at 20, Álvaro Carreras at 22, Franco Mastantuono at 18, and Trent Alexander-Arnold at 26. Average age, 21 years and 6 months. This summer, Marc Cucurella at 27, Bernardo Silva at 31, Ibrahima Konaté at 27, Denzel Dumfries at 30. Average age, 28 years and 9 months. 7 years and 3 months, added to the profile of an entire recruitment strategy in the space of a single window. As ESPN framed it, Mourinho is not designing a team for the future. He is building one to win now. The details sharpen the picture. Cucurella came from Chelsea for around €55 million. The deal landed on the day Spain played their opening World Cup match. Bernardo Silva arrived from Manchester City, 31 years old, and the first player Real Madrid took out of the Premier League this summer. Konaté came from Liverpool, after a pursuit that stalled and restarted more than once before it finally went through. Dumfries arrived after Madrid triggered his release clause at Inter, signing a 4-year contract, a 30-year-old right-back, at a club that already signed Trent Alexander-Arnold 12 months earlier. And then there were the exits: Dani Carvajal, David Alaba, Dani Ceballos. A generation at the Bernabéu quietly closed out. There was one more hire that fit the pattern. Sami Khedira joined the coaching staff, the same Khedira Mourinho signed in 2010. He has no coaching experience. He worked as a broadcaster after retiring. Mourinho wanted him anyway, and on the 10th of July the club published photographs of the new staff on its official channels. The promise was one name. What actually arrived was for finished footballers with an average age of nearly 29, and a manager rebuilding the room he left in 2013. If the story ended there, it would be simple. But last week, in New Jersey, a player walked into the middle of it. Spain beat Argentina 1-0 in extra time to win their second World Cup. Their captain was Rodri. He started all 8 matches and was named the tournament's best player, taking the golden ball. Given that he ruptured a cruciate ligament in September 2024 and spent the better part of a season getting back, it was a significant moment. He has 1 year left on his Manchester City contract, and Real Madrid still have not signed the midfielder Mourinho asked for. On paper, the fit is obvious, and this is where the summer gets genuinely strange. Because on the same story, the reporting runs in opposite directions. L'Equipe reported that Madrid have identified Rodri as their next target. Matteo Moretto reported that the club already has the players' agreement, that the contractual side is close, and that Perez has become far more open to the idea than he was. But Aranza Rodriguez of Spanish radio station COPE said Madrid's transfer activity is effectively at a standstill and that they are making no moves for him. Fabrizio Romano acknowledged Madrid is Rodri's dream while playing down any immediate transfer, and yesterday, The Athletic reported that Real Madrid have no intention of signing him at all. The fee estimates are scattered too, anywhere from €60 million to well past 100. And then yesterday added one more variable. Sky Sports News reported that Rodri is set to undergo minor back surgery, putting his availability in doubt for City's Premier League opener against Bournemouth on the 23rd of August. City's new manager Enzo Maresca and the club want him to stay and sign a new deal. The best player at a World Cup, 1 year on his contract, a surgical procedure, and reporting that flatly contradicts itself. The window closes on the 1st of September. So here is where it stands. Real Madrid promised €150 million Galáctico and did not spend it. They brought in 4 finished players with an average age near 29, hired the manager from their last era, and gave one of that era's players a job on the coaching staff. Instead of buying the future, they bought experience. You can call that a failed summer. The name never came. Or you can call it a summer where what a president needed to sell to voters and what a manager actually needed were never the same thing. Real Madrid have gone 2 seasons without a major trophy. Mourinho's contract runs for 3. So which is it? Are for ready-made 29-year-olds a better answer than one Galáctico? Or is this the summer the Bernabéu finally failed to buy a star?